What's going on, world? Lloyd Banks here for the second part of my two-series video, and it's my opinion on the word nigga, aka nigger. I feel like a lot of times it's a major controversy, sorry, and I feel like it's getting like overly ridiculous over the years. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Try to get a little bit of my. I'm gonna try to do as much as facial expressions as possible. And I'm gonna try to look at the camera this time. I don't know why I wasn't looking at the camera last time, but how I feel. Well, let's start with this. In my opinion, what is nigga? Nigga to me is ignorance. Is a person that basically doesn't listen. That's basically what it says, ignorant. And originally it was used to put certain type of people down, like most known for blacks, slaves. And over the years it's started to evolve to the point where we had countermeasures, but it wasn't working, by calling the whites crackers. But didn't really work. And then it got to the point where basically we became accepting of the word. But, with certain people, and I know because I was like that once upon, like the word got twisted, and instead of saying nigger, you're saying nigga. And it's not just with that word, like people have said words like teacher and turned it into teacher, and preacher and preacher, pitcher, pitcher, even though a picture. There's no such word as picture. Now think about it. It's all the same, really. Picture. But the problem with this day and age is that we're finding reasons why the word is okay, and we're trying to separate the two words when in reality it's technically the same word. Like I said, like because of people's accents and slang, we taken a word that ends in er and flipping it and turning it into an a. But if you like people like myself, I don't really do it as much anymore because I've been away from New York for way too long, and I don't really hang out with a lot of New Yorkers that use the word a's instead of ers and stuff and etc. I'm starting to revert back to er. So, instead of saying teacher, I'm starting to say teacher again. But on the flip side, instead of, I can't really think of too many words, but for example, like sometimes I might say porter, as in porter belly, instead of porta, or what was another one my girl catches me with? It was an instead of saying saw, I say saw her, and it's me basically reverting back to like proper English, but instead of reverting some of the words, I'm reverting all the words, and now the words that end with a, I usually end with er, and the words, and it's just crazy, or like words that drag out an a, I'll twist them and throw an er into it, and it gets annoying to me, but it is what it is, But the word nigga, it has been a very, very controversial word for a long, long, long time, and a lot of people like always try to find reasons to use the word because the word, I guess, is cool. And people like myself made it cool. And then I don't even use it that much these days anyway, unless I'm referencing like a TV show like Boondocks, like nigga, things like that, or if I'm around like certain type of crew, I might use it, but I won't use it for everybody. But to me, it's like with that word, people think it's cool, so they try their hardest to use it. And then you have all these people going into a Kendrick Lamar, for example. I went to a Kendrick Lamar concert a couple years ago. It was back in 2013, and I was in San Diego. I was actually surrounded by a lot of whites, and people were singing his songs. They're getting down to it, cool. And when it comes to that word, and he says the word, some people say it, And me, what am I supposed to do? Get offended? You start a riot at a Kendrick Lamar concert because white people are reciting his lyrics? No, whatever. They like Kendrick Lamar. Like, I would much rather them embrace Kendrick Lamar than damn him, like they've damned the NWA like so many years ago. And the rest of the hip hop crew that try to come on and have a hard time because they were black. Introducing something new and fresh and. People try their hardest not to like it, but you can't help it because it sounds good. And so, I much rather embrace it. And if people want to recite his lyrics, let them recite it. They're lyrics. They're written by him. They're basically saying his words. Just like, we might recite some poets' words. We might recite Martin Luther King's words. They reciting his words, Kendrick Lamar's words. And so I feel like they should be allowed to say it. They shouldn't be allowed to censor themselves. Sometimes I censor myself. Depending on my crowd, I might rap something and I'm like, what? Or, I'm like, like just because, just out of respect for the people. I could easily say it because I'm black, but, I try my hardest to, I try my hardest not to say the word as much because my identity of a nigga, it's people on the struggle. And I don't want to look at my people on the struggle. I much rather look at them on the rise. And so I try to look at them in a way where they are doing something good for themselves instead of keeping themselves in either the slums, the ghetto, or just in a town that really doesn't have a lot of opportunity. And so I try not to use that word a lot for a certain type of people. Now, if they're my boys, if I started out with them, I might use that word. I might be like, you my nigga, because I've never forgotten. I've never forgotten where I came from. I was eating pork and beans out of a can. I wasn't eating out all the time. We had square meals, yeah, but we wasn't eating great. My parents didn't have the best. Well, my mom had a teaching job, but sometimes teachers don't really get paid the best. They get by. My father, he had to hustle. Not drugs, but basically he had to hustle his skills and turn them into money. He did a lot of carpentry work on the side. He's worked at gas stations. He's worked as a janitor. And they basically came up. They didn't have easy lives. People thought oh yeah, my folks is rich. That's only because they work hard. They came from a good background. They came from where they don't do drugs. They don't do nothing that's gonna poison their bodies. They're hardworking people, and I respect them for that. Never said I don't respect them for that, but I'll never consider them niggas. Mainly because I never came up with them, and so I don't know how it was living. I don't know how it was living for them. So if nigger for them might actually be how I said it, nigger. Because my mom was the only black child in a class full of white people. And it's funny because the picture that she took she blended in with them. The only thing that separated was her hair. Her hair was a lot nappier than most other women, and so and my dad basically came to New York to to hustle the DJ and stuff to make money, and then support all of his kids, just so we don't go through the same traps. And so that's why I don't consider them niggas. Now, like I said, I consider my boys niggas because we all came up together. We all came up, trying to do something with ourselves. Like we lived in the same parts for a long time. Doing the same stuff. But at the same time, I know we all had dreams. I know we all had dreams of wanting to do something special. Just in case we have a family, do something for our kids. And sometimes it's hard because we don't have the education, we don't have the smarts, we don't have the money to get a good education. And so, that's how I feel like the struggle. I'm not saying that we were all homeless and stuff, but, like we all came from an area where there's not really a lot of opportunity. All we have is each other, but a lot of times we turn away from one another because there's not a lot of camaraderie in Brentwood, New York. But there are some, but it's not a lot. But those are who I consider my niggas. And that's why I'll use that for them. But for the most part, if they family, they're more my brothers. They're my people. Because that's who they are. They're my people. They're my type of people. They're my conglomerate. They're my posse. They're my gang. Not to say we're gangsters, but that's my gang. And that's why, I try to refrain from using it a lot because, like, over the years, like, the word started to mature on me, and I'm starting to learn more and more and more what it means. Like to me, it's not like it's an ignorant word anymore. It doesn't mean ignorance. I mean, it can still mean ignorance. Like, a word can have multiple meanings, but the word to me not only means ignorance, but it means people of the struggle. And that's why I consider blacks niggas, I consider Hispanic niggas, I consider whites niggas, because there are some whites that live pretty shitty. The trailer parks, like broken homes. Their freaking fathers used to beat them and stuff. So what do? They go to the niggas. Hey, you got some dro? Show you got the dough? For real. Alright, let's get it on. And it's smoke, chill, talk about some nigga shit. And that's that. And that's why, like, I feel like that word shouldn't have set rules based on race. It shouldn't. Because it's not fair to sit there and say blacks, Hispanics, and other races can use the word. But if you're white, especially, if you're Oriental, Asian, like Chinese, Japanese, you can't use the word. Because I've seen fights happen because Asians use the word, and it's not, yeah. But I mean, for that, even them, like, they were on the struggle too, especially the Japanese. Like, when World War II happened, freaking, they were treated like shit. The Americans treated the Japanese like shit. And they were straight up Japanese American. We came over here to get the same opportunity. The Mexicans, the Dominicans, the Jamaicans, the Haitians. The Irish came too. They came for an opportunity, but yet they got treated like shit. Why? Because of their home country. I almost said planet. And so they struggle too. And then for them to have to come up, they deal with a lot of shit. They deal with a lot of ignorant shit. Oh, you didn't make enough chicken wings, or and it's like, I've seen arguments happen because of some ignorant shit with the Asians. And the Asians, they ain't all rich. They ain't all got money. They work too. They struggle. Why can't they be niggas? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. I think, like, honest, it shouldn't have set rules. I think it should just have rules. And the rules should only apply to that of, like, for, say, a dictionary, or thesaurus, mainly because it's like, it should have a primal definition. It shouldn't just be a word with a definition, but a set of rules. Like, blacks, yeah, they get the free pass. Hispanics, yeah, we let them slide. And then the whites, they got to be tested. The Asians, no, they can't. The Indians, if they sell the right sneakers, yeah, we can give them a pass. That's ridiculous. That's fucking ridiculous. I think the nigger word. Well, like I'll wrap this up. I'll tell you right now. Nigger and nigga are the same fucking word. They're the same word. People need to get that. Oh, they're separate. Need to get that shit out of their system. It's the same fucking word. Because how right is it for a black man to go up to another black man and call him a nigger? Oh, shit, my bad, it slipped out. I meant to say nigger. How bad is it for like a Puerto Rican to go up to a black person and be like, what up, my nigger? Of course, blacks are going to fucking want to fight. Then there's going to be a war between the Hispanics and the blacks. Because a Hispanic guy said nigger. But at the same time, you got to understand it's a slang switch. It's a lingo switch. It's all it's been. It's all it's ever been. It's just instead of saying you're saying and it's like that. Like like the examples I gave earlier. Teacher, teacher, preacher, preacher, pitcher, pitcher. And that's it. Case closed. This is Floyd Banks. Peace.